terrified of snakes, and some of you probably are too. When I was 4 years old, the belt that I thought that my mom dropped on our back porch turned out to be a copperhead, which met its fate at the end of my dad's garden hoe. And that's when my phobia of reptiles began. And inside the house where it was safe, I played a lot of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. Just seeing the world through the eyes of an international woman of mystery planted a seed of curiosity in me, and that developed into a travel journalism career that's taken me all over the world. And every time we travel, we get an opportunity to step outside of our comfort zone. And I have come face to beady-eyed face with more reptiles than 4-year-old me would have ever nightmared of. So, I don't know, it's just really weird. Like, I just can't stand the way that they move. Like, they're really fast, and snakes don't have limbs, and they kind of move to the side, and like, it's honestly just really weird. But it's actually also science. The snake detection theory says that the human brain has been conditioned to fear serpentine forms because when we see pictures of them, our brains actually have a different response than they do when they see pictures of other animals. And so researching this was actually horrifying for me because I had to ask Siri to tell me the answer of what color a copperhead was. And so on my first research trip to the Galapagos Islands, I encountered 4 of the endemic iguana species there, and I actually learned that iguanas are pretty chill. And that made it super easy when I had to go on a hike and crawl over literally hundreds of them piled on top of each other. And it's actually pretty hilarious when a marine iguana spits water out of its snout. Like, it's really hard to fear a creature when you catch it shooting snot rockets. And you don't actually even have to really encounter a real reptile to have a fear response to it, as I discovered during a snorkeling trip in the Brazilian Pantanal. The Rio Sucuri translates to the Anaconda River in English, and this is actually luckily one of the most crystal clear rivers in the world, and that made it really easy when I had to go for a snorkel, and my guide also told me that the anacondas stick to the side, so it was really easy. And on a trip to Qatar, my guide actually just snatched a snake out of a dune and threw it at us. I'll show you the video at the bar later. And it ended up actually being fake, which was not funny at all. And I was actually really grateful when a gecko tried to make a nest in my hair on a guidebook trip to Bali. I just stayed awake and stared at the ceiling all night, and it was actually good because a deadly earthquake actually hit that evening, and I was already awake, so it was really easy for me to bounce out of my hotel room. But, getting outside of your comfort zone, it doesn't always necessarily mean you have to encounter a phobia. Sometimes it's just about doing something that you really normally wouldn't have before, like the Harry Potter studio tour that I did when I was doing a guidebook to London. I watched the movies and fell asleep, but I figured maybe I'll take a BuzzFeed quiz and learn something, and I learned that I'm actually in the Slithering house. So I'm a snake. Great, of course I am. Another way that most people get out of their comfort zone when they're traveling is just simply by experiencing another culture. And I did a trip to South Korea for 6 weeks, and this is the first place I went where I didn't know the language, so I figured immersion is the way to go, and I ended up staying in Airbnbs of people whose they rent out their childhood bedrooms. So I'm hanging out with these parents, and one of them ate my leftover pizza, so in atonement, brought home a pizza and wanted to cook a home-cooked meal for me, and then told me that I was actually going to this place that, they're really famous for octopus, and so the dad gave me some money, and I go, and I figure I'll just bring some octopus home because we're gonna have a home-cooked meal. And if you didn't know, once an octopus is unalived, it will actually continue moving for up to an hour. And so my bus ride back was about an hour and a half. And I got home and I was like, is this thing still moving? And it wasn't. But my host parents thought it was hilarious because it was actually a joke. He didn't really, they just gave me money, and I still don't know why. But yeah, we still had a wonderful home-cooked meal, which also included a type of octopus that was more local, and I usually decline when I'm offered the gray matter of any species, but I just learned when I went to see Anthony Bourdain, he said that always eat what grandma puts on the fucking table. So I did. And so as you go out into this world and you travel, do it with a curious mind, an open heart, and a hungry stomach. And Yeah, thank you.